welcome back to It's a Small Vlog, and welcome to the brand new It's a Small Vlog studio. This is my first time unveiling it to you guys, so I hope that you like it. It's not much for now. There's still some extra little things I want to do, some things I want to play around with, like adding some frames along the walls here, but overall I'm very happy with how this all came out. I think it really reflects me as a Disney fan and what some of my favorite elements about the company are, like Disneyland, Orange Bird, Epcot, all those kinds of things. So let me know in the comments below what you think of it. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a while now, as kind of like a place to discuss any big news that just dropped, or giving an in-depth review about something, you know, things of that nature. So that's really the purpose that this studio is going to serve here. But enough talk about that, because in this video we're going to be talking about some major Disney news that just dropped the other day regarding Epcot and the Disney 100 celebration. On top of all that, I'm going to be discussing some of my thoughts and concerns and predictions regarding this new Epcot fireworks show that was announced following the conclusion of Harmonious, as well as why Disney is doing away with Harmonious so soon. So with all that out of the way, let's get into today's news. A few days ago, Disney shared some new details about the all-new nighttime spectacular at Epcot, debuting for the 100 Years of Wonder celebration, and also that the park will be home to the Disney 100 festivities in Walt Disney World. So to bring you up to speed a little bit, back at the D23 Expo in September, Disney Parks Chairman Josh D'Amaro announced that there will be a new nighttime spectacular coming to Epcot later this year. Take a look.
Well, both of them have been tremendous additions, and if you haven't seen them already, you definitely don't want to miss them. You definitely don't want to miss them. Because as I've been saying, we're always looking to the future. So I am excited to share that we're crafting an all-new nighttime spectacular for Epcot during the 100th anniversary celebration. Brand new show, and this show is in development right now, and it will debut later next year, continuing that park's legacy of inspiring nighttime entertainment on our World Showcase Lagoon.
Josh was very vague and didn't really give us that many details, if any, regarding this new nighttime spectacular. But what really shocked me was the news in general. I don't know about you, but I was not expecting to hear this announcement. It definitely caught me off guard. But following this announcement, news-wise, everything was very quiet regarding it. But then back in January, Disney officially gave us an end date for Harmonious and a return date for Epcot Forever, as it acts as a filler-style show following the conclusion of Harmonious and the start of this new show. I mentioned this in a previous video, but just in case you need a refresher, Harmonious will officially end on April 2nd of this year, and Epcot Forever will return the night after on April 3rd. Similar to how it appeared in 2019 following the end of Illuminations, Epcot Forever will act as an interim show while the entertainment team preps the World Showcase Lagoon and makes the necessary infrastructure changes to prepare for this new show. Now, one of the biggest changes happening on the lagoon will be the long-awaited removal of those ugly barges plaguing the World Showcase sightlines. Granted, Disney says this will be, quote, a phased removal of the barges. This isn't something where Disney can just snap their fingers and it's done overnight and voila, they're gone. No, this is probably going to end up taking, I would say, a month or two, maybe even longer than that. It shouldn't take any longer than a couple of months, but I would say at least 2-3 months at the very least to completely dispose the lagoon of these ugly oil rigs. In terms of the new info that we just received a few days ago, we now know that once the 50th anniversary ends on March 31st of this year, which is only a couple weeks away at this point, Epcot will act as the epicenter for the 100 Years of Wonder celebration at Walt Disney World. Quote, "As we honor the legacy of Disney storytelling and unforgettable characters that have entertained and inspired people of all ages for a century, now is the time to relive those beloved Disney memories and delight in making new memories with friends and family in our theme parks. Enjoy all new experiences as we celebrate this momentous anniversary and the culmination of the Epcot transformation. From meeting Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse in their platinum attire, to snapping a selfie with a platinum sculpture of the one who started it all, and watching Spaceship Earth illuminate the evenings with a special lighting design." End quote. The massive construction crater that's been plaguing the center of Epcot for almost 4 years at this point will finally be complete. We got some more details regarding the opening date for Journey of Water inspired by Moana, which we now know will open this fall, as well as some new concept art depicting the exterior and interior of Communicore Hall and Communicore Plaza. I'm planning on going into more detail regarding these other announcements that Disney announced with the center of Epcot in a future construction video, so I don't want to go into too much detail right now regarding those new additions. In terms of the actual Disney 100 celebration, I'm assuming that it'll be fairly similar to everything that's currently going on out at Disneyland, with the addition of a bunch of festive decor around property, as well as your typical food and merchandise, which we've already seen pop up around the parks here. And then, of course, I'm sure Cinderella Castle will get a nice overlay, and the characters will be all dressed up, and then Disney will just call it a celebration. That seems to be the new norm with Disney and their milestones these days. I know a lot of people were confused as to why Epcot was hosting this celebration and not the Magic Kingdom, but I think it actually makes perfect sense that Epcot will be the host park, considering the completion of the now defunct Future World, aka World Celebration, in the middle of the park. Disney is waiting until late 2023 to kick off the celebration festivities here at Disney World, despite starting it back in January at Disneyland, is probably for a number of reasons. First off, the 50th anniversary isn't ending for another 2 weeks, and that was an 18-month-long event. It makes sense that Disney is going to want to space out the two celebrations. Plus, if Disney is opting to wait until the Epcot overhaul is complete, centering the celebration there acts as another quick attendance draw to the park, especially considering that once all of World Celebration is finished, they'll be able to add a lot more capacity to Epcot in general. On top of that, you also have Disney's classic strategy of waiting to debut new additions in non-peak times of the year. I wouldn't be surprised to see the 100th anniversary start on either October 1st of this year, or even 2 weeks later on October 16th, which is the official calendar date the company turns 100 years old. Disney mentioned that Journey of Water will finally open this fall, and the rest of the construction area will open shortly after. My prediction is that we'll probably get a September or even late August opening date for the Moana walkthrough, and then an October 1st or even October 16th opening date for the rest of the area, as well as the new fireworks show. Again, just my predictions there, but personally, that's something that I would put my money on. Going back to the new nighttime spectacular that was announced for the park, Disney shared a first look at a piece of concept art for the new show and gave a brief description about the theme of the show. Quote, "A new nighttime spectacular will debut at Epcot later this year, inviting everyone to gather around the World Showcase Lagoon for a show that will unite us through commonalities of the heart in a dazzling display of fireworks, lasers, music, and light. Featuring an original composition along with select songs from the Disney Songbook, this new spectacular will remind us that we're more alike than different, connecting our hearts together as one." End quote. In this very vague piece of concept art and description given by Disney, it literally looks like that this show is going to be harmonious again, just without the barges. Disney stated that, quote, "Select Disney songs from the Disney Songbook will be present throughout the show," which is hinting at, you guessed it, more intellectual property integration. And personally, I thought that Disney would have learned their lesson from the failure of Harmonious, with that being that intellectual properties do not belong inside of Epcot, or at least not in their fireworks shows. Now, granted, of course, this is still a very vague description regarding the show, and a very vague piece of concept art too, and we still haven't even seen this show, so I can't criticize it too much. However, I do still have some hope, because number one, this is another temporary show. It's only going to be around for the 100th anniversary, and once the celebration ends, it's only a matter of time where somewhere down the road this show ends up getting replaced again. The second reason is that you can kind of play around with the wording of the description a little bit. Like I said before, Disney said that it will feature an original score and some songs from the Disney Songbook. While it's most likely that Disney is probably alluding to popular songs from their movies here, there is a slight possibility that they may not. For all we know, they could be referring to We Go On or even Promise from Illuminations. I mean, it's really anybody's guess. Surely those would count as part of the Disney Songbook, right? Judging by the concept art, it doesn't really look like that this is going to be a very technologically advanced show either. The tech looks pretty similar to Epcot Forever. It seems relatively simple. You know, you're going to have your fireworks, your lasers, your lights, music, all that stuff in your typical fireworks show. And sometimes less is more. And if this is going to be another temporary show, then it probably doesn't need to be anything super crazy or over the top ambitious. And I'm perfectly fine with that. Personally, what I was really hoping we would see be part of this show was the use of drones. If you've been keeping up, you'll know that drone technology has been a very popular rumor for a while now as being part of an Epcot fireworks show, especially after the major success Disney has had with them out in Disneyland Paris for their 30th anniversary. I definitely think that drones will probably come to Epcot soon in the form of some sort of nighttime spectacular, hopefully somewhere down the line, but I guess only time will tell. I kind of want to discuss why exactly Harmonious is going away so soon, and especially considering the fact that I was very shocked to hear that at the D23 Expo. I think it caught a lot of us off guard. It was not something I was expecting to hear, as Harmonious was never intended to be a temporary nighttime show for Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary. I mean, Disney invested hundreds of millions of dollars into constructing those barges on the lagoon, and let me tell you, that investment was not meant for an 18-month-long nighttime spectacular. Harmonious was supposed to be Epcot's answer to shows like World of Color and Happily Ever After, lasting at least a decade or more. I mean, it was going to be pulling people to Epcot in the evening in record amounts to spend money on food and merchandise, which would have recouped much of its investment. Because let's be real here, the only reason why Disney actually does nighttime shows is to keep guests staying into the evening hours so they can spend more money. Now, to be fair, Harmonious actually did draw people to Epcot, but this was largely due to the new fireworks show at the Magic Kingdom being very disappointing as compared to its predecessor, Animal Kingdom having no nighttime spectacular, and Fantasmic taking a lot longer than anticipated to refresh and bring back over at Hollywood Studios. Now, Harmonious generated many mixed reviews among many parkgoers, myself included, obviously. I don't know if this is 100% true or not, but I have heard that the guest satisfaction with Harmonious scored even lower than the interim show Epcot Forever. And personally, if this is true, I'm not surprised because even I like Epcot Forever better than Harmonious. But whether you're a fan of the show or not, the real reason why it's going away is not because we, the fans, don't like it. It's because the high-level executives don't like it. Even Bob Chapek, the infamous Disney CEO who had the idea for creating the quote-unquote Disney concert, was reportedly disappointed with the show when it was screened for him. The executives are not seeing the results that they were hoping to see with their grand idea of putting intellectual properties in the World Showcase Lagoon. They're noticing that guests aren't staying as much as they were when Illuminations was showing. The guests aren't spending as much money around the World Showcase as they used to because the barges add such a visual blight on the lagoon, which doesn't make it as fun to go sightseeing around the world or taking in the immersion that each country has to offer. As such, it creates this sort of domino effect where Disney can't recuperate as much of the costs as they were hoping to when they were constructing the infrastructure for Harmonious, so now they have no choice but to get something new in the World Showcase Lagoon. Harmonious is very costly maintenance-wise. I've seen crews of technicians out there working on those barges multiple times while walking around the World Showcase, and that certainly cannot be cheap. When it comes to comparing Harmonious with Illuminations, it really doesn't address the core complaints normal guests had with Illuminations. And as much as I love that show, there were some complaints with Illuminations that were absolutely valid. Some said that the technology was outdated or that, the middle part was too slow and that it needed some more fireworks. And these complaints were absolutely valid. I mean, nothing is perfect. But Harmonious is not really accomplishing anything unique or impressive here, and a lot of those complaints still exist right now. I mean, the show itself doesn't really have a ton of pyro, it feels very disjointed pacing-wise, and there's only so many spots that you can view it around the World Showcase Lagoon. It's very limited because you have that two-dimensional ring in the center where most of the action is happening. Granted, Harmonious shouldn't feel like a complete failure, but given what Disney invested in the show and the lofty standards that it needed to meet, I wouldn't be considering this a massive success either. What I find funny is the amount of unnecessary work that Disney created for themselves. Disney would have been a lot better off if they just upgraded the already existing technology and infrastructure that they already had when Illuminations was present. They could have easily just updated the operating system on the globe, or added some more pyro, or even, I don't know, built a bigger globe. Like, this stuff wasn't very difficult, and it would have been a lot more cost effective on Disney's end, and would have made everyone happy. The only reason why Harmonious as a show exists is because of Disney's success with Happily Ever After. The executives saw how incredibly popular that show was, and instead of thinking about something unique for Epcot, they opted to just copy and paste it into the park. Their mindset was, wow, our guests love seeing their favorite Disney characters being projected on Cinderella Castle. Could you imagine how much they'd love them if we put them in the World Showcase Lagoon in the middle of Epcot? Wow, what a great idea. Here's what we'll do. We'll take half of the songs that exist in Happily Ever After and put them in Epcot, but this time just shuffled around and sung in different languages. And then we'll make a new show at the Magic Kingdom that follows the exact same format as Happily Ever After, only this time with characters from our newest movies that you can go watch on Disney+. And you have this big new master plan to promote all this corporate IP synergy that completely backfired on them. The problem is that the executives don't realize that there was something uniquely special about Happily Ever After that Disney Enchantment didn't and still doesn't provide. They're missing the fact that what makes for a good nighttime show is something emotionally appealing and something that tells a unique story and makes you feel something. Something that complements the themes and values that its respective park is founded on. I mean, you can still have a great nighttime spectacular without promoting the latest IPs on Disney+. And we know that thanks to Illuminations, the longest running nighttime show in Disney theme park history. And I think what really added to its success level and its notoriety was the fact that it wasn't something that you would expect from Disney. It was something unlike anything that you had ever seen before. Disney hasn't and probably will never do something like Illuminations ever again. It was very unique. And I think that's the reason why Epcot as a park resonated with people so much, because it was unlike anything you had ever experienced before. It was something that had never been done before and was an escape from your typical Magic Kingdom style park. It was reality made fantastic, literally, through unique attractions and compelling shows that immersed you in today's diverse and ever-changing world that we all share. Epcot isn't Epcot unless it maintains those core values and ideals, and it just goes to show how essential and important the nighttime show is to Epcot as a Disney theme park. I don't want to ramble on for too much longer, but that's the latest going on with Epcot and its nighttime spectaculars and the Disney100 celebration. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, as it really does help me out. Give me a like, comment down below, turn those notifications on so you never miss it anytime I upload a new video, and check out my Instagram as well. The link is down below. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that this video turned out alright again. First time in the studio, and again, I hope that you enjoyed the studio. But this has been It's a Small Vlog. My name is Bobby, and with all that out of the way, have a magical day, everybody. Bye.